Producer Joe here from the Working Fans Podcast. And at the Working Fans Podcast, this is just a podcast that three lifelong fans created to have a place to talk comedy and pro wrestling. Now, our comedy podcast releases every Tuesday, while our wrestling podcast releases every Thursday. We release bonus episodes under the moniker Working Fans Presents every now and then. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, any major podcast provider. The important thing is just please like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to us. Now, we have started a new thing. We are now on Amazon and Audible. So those episodes release every Monday. And that's kind of going through the archives and just releasing our old episodes in a new area. So if you want to live through the process with us again, take that journey with us again, you can find us over on Amazon and Audible. Now, if you can't get enough of us in the audio form, check out our YouTube. It's youtube.com/C/Working Fans Wrestling Pod, or just search Working Fans Podcast on YouTube. We have the whole archive is up there. And if you listen to the Working Fans Podcast, you are more than familiar with the 531. That is our signature segment where we take your top 5 list on a particular subject, vote it down to a top 3, and then debate it down to a top 1. Now, guys, if you want to hear 3 guys talk shit about comedy, wrestling, life, anything, you will enjoy the Working Fans Podcast.
It's the Working Fans Podcast. Man, they call Dave. AJ Strangebrew is back in the house with us, and we are talking top current tag teams. AJ, you love tag team wrestling.
I do. There's so much great tag teams out there right now. I think we've had somewhat of a revival, no pun intended, on the actual rebuilding of tag teams. I think, quite frankly, the WWE still sucks when it comes to tag team wrestling, but the rest of the world is looking incredible.
I have one team from WWE that I'd put on my list, actually. So, and we'll talk about that later.
No, I'm intrigued to see.
There's one. There's one in NXT UK that made my list. Actually, I should say that too. But anyway, let's see. Why don't you start off? What do you got for us?
Do you want to start off with mine, or do you want to start off with?
Give me somebody on your list here.
Absolutely. Sorry. That's all right. So I'm starting off first here with Scott from Voluntown. We have got FTR.
Yep.
Santana and Ortiz, Tetsuya Naito, and Sonata, Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham, and the Briscoes. So a good top 5 there.
Briscoes
and you'll notice not a single WWE tag team on this whole list.
No. Briscoes are good. And I think
I like Lethal and Gresham.
Lethal and Gresham are great. I was going to say, I think he was saying it was hard not to put the Lucha Bros, too, when I talked to him on that list, too. So I think he wanted to make them an honorable mention.
It is interesting that he chose Santana and Ortiz over the Lucha Bros.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting tag team choice to make. To me, I think the Lucha Brothers are the better of the 2 tag teams. It's nothing against Ortiz and Santana. They can make any list also. I just personally prefer the Lucha Brothers over the 2 of them.
I can understand that. Now, Randy Oscar's friend sent us a list. Phil, a.k.a. Nightmare 10 on Twitter. He's got the Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, FTR, Jurassic Express, and Pride and Powerful. So Santana Ortiz, also known as Pride and Powerful, make the list here as well with the Lucha Bros. And that's an interesting list. So if you look at that list, all AEW tag teams.
I mean, I know they're going to be coming up soon. I know they're on other lists, but I think it's interesting that thus far, haven't seen the Young Bucks.
Oh no, they were the second team mentioned.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear them on his list. Sorry,
but that's
I know
funny.
that, I know they weren't on Scott's. Sorry,
it's funny because if you look at top teams too, I think you got to include the Young Bucks. Saying like top current teams, but I kind of went with my favorite personally, just so I kind of make it a little different. And I got to tell you, I didn't put the Bucks on my list either. And I don't hate the Bucks, but they're just not like my favorite tag team. I don't know what it is. I just think there's other good team.
Yeah, I don't hate the Bucks either, but you're not going to find them on my list either.
No, I know at least one team we're probably going to be sharing on our list. We'll talk about that later. Who do you got next?
I can tell you there's one that I think we might be sharing that's not on anybody's list thus far. Okay. But let's go on to Jake so far. We've got Jake St. John. He is Mrs. St. John's second favorite baby boy. We've got the Young Bucks making his list number 1. FTR. We've got the Briscoe brothers. We've got John Moxley and Eddie Kingston because he says he loves their friendship, which is cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
The Lucha Brothers. And then because it is Jake St. John, we do have the Jake St. John rule in play here. And with an honorable mention, we've got MSK. He hates the name, but he loves the tag team.
Good move. MSK is a great team.
Absolutely. Enjoyed him in Impact. Enjoy him in NXT. Still not on my list, but they are a great team.
I'm gonna read a couple the producer Joe sent to me here. I got Chuck Winchester's list. He's from the Buzz family. He's got RK Bro, New Day, Usos, Lucha Brothers, and Best Friends. Interesting about Chuck's list is a little more heavy WWE. I know he watches WWE, but just in keeping up with AEW, the two teams he picked were Lucha Brothers and Best Friends. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, here's the interesting thing about the Best Friends is Best Friends 6 months ago would have made my list, but that was when it was Trent and Chuck. Trent is nowhere to be seen right now, and so therefore the Best Friends do not make my list.
Understandable. Josh DeBoard sent us a list as well. He's got the Usos, RK Bro, MSK, AJ and Omos, and Imperium.
Oh.
So Imperium I thought was a nice add to that list because, I don't know if they get the credit they deserve. They're technically sound.
Very technically sound, very good tag team, long-time NXT staple now, and NXT UK. Not on my list, but very good team.
I'm going to read one more, and then we'll go to who you got next. I got John White here. He's got the Usos, Lucha Brothers, RK Bro, FTR, Finjuice, and an honorable mention to Men of the Year and the Good Brothers. Men of the Year.
They're growing on me.
I like them. I like Ethan Page.
I just don't think they've worked as a team enough to actually be on my top 5.
That's right. They've been more in angles, and they've been doing single stuff as well.
Let me tell you something. Once again, 6 months ago, I would have gone with the North. So
the North would have definitely been. 1,000%. All right, who we got next, AJ?
All right, so I've got Mrs. St. John's favorite baby boy, Zach St. John, and he went with FTR, the Usos, the Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, and then he finally nailed the team that I'm going to get from NXT. He got the Grizzled Young Vets.
Thought you would do that. I knew what you were implying earlier. So they're another great team out of Europe, too. I'm going to surprise you. I went a little different. But we'll get to that later. Joe sent us a list of himself here. He's got FTR, the Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, Von Erichs, out of GCW, Chris Dickerson and Starboy Charlie, the Briscoes as an honorable mention. So, not bad. How many more lists you got there?
I believe I have 2 more.
2 more. I got
one from a farm and one from New Hampshire.
All right. So I got 2 There's a list I have here from Tyler Peters. I think he only sent us
Tyler,
one.
don't call me Stiff Peters. Yes.
He had originally sent us the Midnight Express, Iron and Tully, the Rock and Roll Express, and the Road Wars of Doom. And I didn't even look at it. Joe said
All of them are doing very well right now.
And I said to Joe, I said, I never looked at this last night. And he goes, yeah, hold on. So, and Kyler, all we got was he said, FTR, trying to think of others. So,
I think the only one of his teams other than that that's active is the Rock and Roll Express.
Rock and Roll Express. Yeah, I might want to include them, actually. So, but again, here's another pattern. I feel like the FTR have made almost every list so far.
Yeah, they're a great freaking tag team. Whether you call them a revival, whether you call them FTR, I call them, quite frankly, a mixture of all of those teams that Tyler Peters mentioned. Whether it's the Midnight Express, whether it's Tully and Iron, they're a mixture of everything that's good in tag team wrestling.
100%. And we also got a list from Joe's brother Matt. He's got
Joe's brother Matt. We love you, Matt.
Yeah, he's got Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, RK Bro, Private Party, and FTR. That might be the first list Private Party made on here.
Yeah, Private Party is an up-and-coming team. I think that they're not even getting enough play in AEW, quite frankly. Right now, I think that the worst thing that happened to them was being aligned with Matt Hardy. I think that they're getting buried in the shuffle, unfortunately, that they focus more on the other tag team, the Butcher and the Blade, that's with Matt Hardy, and I don't think Private Party is getting anywhere near enough play. Also, they are nowhere near as cool as Waves and Curls.
Shout out to Northeast Wrestling's favorite tag team. What do you got for a list, bud?
I've got Randy Osga. Now, I love Randy. You know, Randy's one of my biggest fans, and I appreciate that because I'm an egomaniac. However, Randy, you're a fucking idiot, and you can't count to 5 because you gave me 9 fucking teams.
Oh yeah, he did. I saw this.
So I hope you don't mind, Randy. I'm just going to give 5 of your 9. So screw you.
Wait. Oh, give him all Randy's list.
Come on,
long time fan.
There's got to be rules.
No, we got a Jake rule, maybe the Oscar rule now.
In fairness, he works on a farm. He probably thinks 5 is 9. It's fine.
He's very excited.
No, 2.0.
Yep.
We've got John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. RK Bro. Finn Juice. The New Day. Los Parks, which is a great one. I love that one.
Yep.
Lucha Brothers. Santana Ortiz, and then he actually came back with a number 9. He had actually finished at 8 and came back with a number 9 and actually hit like Jake St. John with MSK.
Yeah. So interesting on that list that he had. Oh God, I'm blanking out now. Who was the first on his list?
2.0.
2.0, thank you. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I like 2.0.
I love 2.0. I think they're great.
And quite frankly, if we're looking for an old-fashioned tag team similar to the Revival, similar of that nature, 2.0, absolutely adore them, but they're not making my list.
No. I think CM Punk called them the Nasty Boys' little brothers last night.
Well, that's because of the vests.
Yeah.
I actually thought the same thing with the vest. I saw the vest and was like, huh.
I thought
a tribute to the Nasty
a while
Boys.
back. I said something to Scott. Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me. What's going on here? But they're growing on me big time.
Absolutely. They wrestle a lot better than the Nasty Boys, so I guess there's that.
So Mike Flynn sends me a list. He's got the Bucks, RK Bro, Pride and Powerful, FTR, and MSK.
Okay.
Anybody surprising you that making a lot of lists so far?
No, not really.
No, I mean,
I'll be honest with you. If anything surprised me, it's Moxley and Kingston, just because I still don't think of them as a team.
You know, it's funny. I think I'm surprised the Usos didn't make more lists, but
I'm a little surprised with the Usos. But in fairness, a lot of our listeners, a lot of our viewers, are not necessarily the biggest WWE fans.
And I would say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and I respect the Usos. However, they didn't make my list either.
Well, so I would still say too, and you can throw the New Day made some people's list too. And
I can't stand the New Day.
Yeah, well, I think maybe too that maybe Usos and New Day suffer from the same thing. Part of it's our listeners, but also part of it's and maybe they don't have really good teams to feud with anymore.
Well, and that's just it. That's and when they do go out there, a lot of times they spend as much time now wrestling in singles as they do. If you go past the back the few months, you've seen more of the New Day wrestling singles matches versus people than you have anything else.
Agreed. Now, who we got next?
I've got Jesse from New Hampshire. Or if you prefer, New Hampshire. Either way, really. I love it. We'll go either way. We've got the Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, FTR making another list. It's going to be awful hard to beat them.
Yeah.
Here's one that we haven't seen a lot of yet: Jurassic Express.
Yeah, I think they made one of the lists so far.
Yeah, and then he's got the Usos.
Okay,
they're back.
They're back, baby.
So, and that's Jesse's whole list. That's 5 teams.
Okay, cool.
I think his list is solid. The thing about the tag teams, what we talked about at the beginning of this, is there's so many tag teams right now.
Right.
Around the world, there's great tag teams, and I'm surprised we're getting as much consistent responses with similar names as we are, considering how many great tag teams there are. One that hasn't made anybody's list yet is the Good Brothers.
Good Brothers. I'm glad you brought that up because I got Albert Bettis from the Rockin' Randy's Wrestling Crew, and he's got FTR, the Briscoes, the Good Brothers, and he's got Gorillas of Destiny and the Von Erichs rounding up his top 5.
Dude, love that the Von Erichs finally made a goddamn list. That's the how can you not have the Von Erichs on any list? I was sitting here steaming. Yeah.
But they did make a lot. Yeah. No, Good Brothers finally made a list too. It's interesting. I feel like Young Bucks definitely have come back a little bit now as we start reading this more and more. We're hearing more of them. But man, as we go into the finals here, what have we been hearing most of? FTR,
Santana and Ortiz made a lot of lists.
Yeah,
the Briscoes started off strong, but they seem to have fallen off a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like the Bucks finally kind of came back a little bit.
Yeah, so. If anything, I think the Briscoes and the Bucks have somewhat evened up because I think the Briscoes were solid at the beginning, and I think the Bucks have kind of taken off at the end. So,
all right. Well, we got 2 more lists. I believe you're next.
Yeah, well, my list is the Lucha Brothers. They did make my list.
Yeah.
I've got the Grizzled Young Vets because I think that when it comes to just being a pure tag team, there's none any better out there, quite frankly. I've got the Von Erichs because they're friends of the show and they're also an awesome tag team. So anybody who's watched MLW and doesn't recognize what a great tag team they are, shame on you.
Old school.
Absolutely. And speaking of old school, I've got FTR on mine.
Mm-hmm.
In my number, what was that? My 4th one? Sorry, I lost track of where I was counting. And then my number 5, quite frankly, is the Briscoes. I've always been a fan of the Briscoes. I know some people don't politically like them or what they say and stuff like that, but they're heels, goddammit, and they're supposed to not say popular things. And I love them as a tag team. And quite frankly, they're the tag team that's been together maybe the longest active tag team on this list.
Very possible. Oh, Ross and Marshall have been together since birth, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. In fairness, the Briscoes are also brothers, and I think they're a lot older than
right.
What
I was thinking, right? So, and I think they're older. So yeah, they have been together. How am I talking about?
I was ready for that one.
You are, yeah. Ross and Marshall, I was saying, tremendous old school team. What I meant by that was they're an old school Texas brawling type team. They remind me of their uncles and dad.
They're different from FTR, and they're different from teams like that because their teamwork doesn't necessarily flow like the Midnight Express. But when it comes to just straight up old fashioned Texas style kick your ass brawl, they remind me of Brody and Hanson a little bit, but without the size.
I could see that. They definitely, like I said, I definitely think of them like their dad and their uncles.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're, but I mean, even in style. Now that
By
being
the
said,
way, I think Tyler Peters had Brody and Hanson on his current tag team list also.
shout out to Tyler Peters. All right, my final list to wrap us up will be I got Ross and Marshall as well, former NWW Tag Champs, FTR. They're gonna make my list. I got the Usos. I think they're doing great things with the Bloodline with Roman Reigns.
I do like the Usos. It's not anything against them.
No, I know.
I just think right now for just wrestling as a pure tag team that this is what you get. Plus
They
there was
need
that.
more. They need more teams to compete with too.
Well, they don't have the teams to compete with. They basically have one other team to compete with.
Yeah.
And then they also had the year off where I believe it was Jimmy that was injured for a year. So it's been a while.
1,000%. And of course, Jimmy's also the one who got in a little trouble there too recently.
Yeah,
too.
Jimmy also got in trouble there, and then you.
But that hasn't stopped them actually.
in fairness, main event Jey Uso did great as a single. So
funny sidebar too before I finish my list too. Last week when Brock was beating up the Usos in front of Roman, and Roman wouldn't come down, he beat up Jimmy, gave him a suplex, and then he goes to suplex Jay, and you see Roman go, "Don't you touch Jay." So it's like, that's my favorite. Don't you do that. We don't give a shit about Jimmy, but no, don't you touch Jay.
Don't you touch main event Jey Uso.
Yeah, so he knows it. Now, finishing up my last two teams, I got Mox and Kingston because, like Jay, I like their friendship. I think it's great. And I knew that AJ would really approve of me putting a tag team on because they're friends.
They're not a fucking tag team.
Shout out to Jay.
They're two singles wrestlers that are just wrestling together.
They did have a tag title match at one of the pay-per-views against the Bucks. And
okay,
hey, I would say
fine.
Whatever. Mustache Mountain. I'm gonna run the list. They're not teaming up all the time now.
I know they're not.
Right,
that's why I didn't count them.
But they did team up on this past week's episode or the week before recently. So they had one recently. So I was like, you know what?
I didn't want to take a spot away from teams that are working regularly because, and I'm with you. I love Mustache Mountain. I love the way they work. I love everything about them. But
well, hey, I'm the only one to put them down, so they had to get
I'm not going to disagree with you. I love the team.
All right, so I think we're going to have to go FTR and Bucks here, and I think maybe round it up with the Briscoes. What votes? It was close. It was Briscoes, Lucha, and Pride and Powerful.
See, I like the fact that you're sticking with the format and you're sticking with who deserves to be in there. I think that's great. But I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote for the Von Erichs.
The Von Erichs, okay.
As the number 3 team.
Well, they're getting booted anyway.
Yeah, they're going out first. Don't get me wrong.
All right.
However, I don't think whoever the number 30 team is getting booted. So let's just go with the Von Erichs.
Let's tie. We're tied for number 3. They're both getting booted. The Briscoes and the Von Erichs, which would be a great match, by the way.
I would love to see that. You talk about a brawl.
Yeah, let's sign that.
Book that.
Yeah, 100%. Now on this list, I think we're going to be biased here. I know we're going to be biased. The Young Bucks versus FTR. Now, listen, if you go by title credentials, obviously the Bucks have had a little more success in terms of AEW at least, and they never competed in WWE. FTR has held every title in WWE, and they've been AEW tag champs at this point.
They're also managed by Tully Blanchard.
They're managed by. I just think that, and you can argue that obviously the Bucks are in the main event angle and stuff like that, but I just think FTR, when you look at who they are as a team.
Yeah, you can't really go by who's in the main event angle when one of the two teams is the VPs of the fucking company.
I'll say this too. If you go back to, and I don't know a lot of people talk about this, and I think this was the story. If you go back to when the Bucks were baby faces and they won the tag titles off of FTR.
Yeah.
It was I can't remember which one jumped off the ropes and did like attempted like a Scorpio splash there,
Yeah.
and like a 450, and he missed it, and the
I'll
Bucks
tell you,
caught.
I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the bald one.
So my point of this is, to me, that story was very telling because FTR and the Bucks were having this great back and forth match, and then the FTR does something out of their element, decide to go for a high flying move, and it costs them. And I thought there was a big part of the story that was never really told. It was that one difference that ended up costing them the match. And my dad, I'm just basically getting that FTR is such great storytellers. I think they put a lot of this together. I think when you look at the stuff they do, where they pay homage to the Midnight Express, the Hart Foundation, Demolition, Anderson and Tully. I don't know. To me, they're symbolic of what tag team wrestling is, and they're all around great guys from everything I've heard too.
So here's the thing, and AEW, I love AEW. I think that they're doing a great job of utilizing all their talent. They're doing a wonderful job. If there's any place where they've kind of slipped up a little bit, I think they could use FTR even more. So
yeah, I have no problem with that.
So yeah, and we are not impartial here. We are huge fans of that style of wrestling, and we're huge fans of late 80s wrestling, and they bring us back there. And this isn't about what we love. We could easily make it about what we love, but I genuinely believe the best tag team in the world is FTR.
Now, I'm going to add a little extra to this episode, a little bonus. We might not do this every episode, but we just want to have a little wrestling talk on it. So, you had mentioned to me before about talking about possibly Crown Jewel and stuff coming up on that event. And whatever. There's some interesting stuff on here, though.
We don't have to talk about the whole card, but I think first of all, I think it's interesting that they are even going back there. I mean, they've had troubles in the past with running shows there, with travel, with it's like the Wild West there sometimes. So it's interesting that they're taking the money and still going back there.
I'm a little interested in the fact they finally had a women's match not too long ago on there, and it was accepted, and obviously they had to dress differently. But there's multiple women's matches on this show,
and they're all going to have to dress that way that we saw last.
I saw that. Yeah, I know. I figured that, but I get nervous when they go to Saudi Arabia and this stuff happens. I don't know. I'm just a little uneasy, but
can Roman Reigns even do his shtick with I'm the tribal chief?
I don't know.
You all have to pay homage to me. I'm the tribal chief. Will the king actually allow that?
Do you see a title change happening here in any of these matches? Just to go through, I'm not going to go through the tag title matches, whatever, but there's Roman and Brock, Drew and Bobby, and then the women's title match is Belair, Sasha, and Becky. I feel like the women's title is the most likely.
I don't see Belair taking it because she's going to Raw. Why would she take the SmackDown title to Raw? Unless they're just going to flip flop, and the Raw title is going to be the SmackDown title, and the SmackDown title is going to be the Raw title.
And Charlotte's on SmackDown now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then they'll probably just keep it as it is. Then I would think.
Yeah, that's to me that just doesn't make sense. The title change there, and I believe the Boss stayed on SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
And Becky went to Raw.
Right. So actually, Sasha
actually is the best chance to actually win that.
Well, wait. Charlotte's on SmackDown, right?
Charlotte's on SmackDown. Who's Charlotte wrestling for her belt next?
Not on this show. So
she's not. So there's no chance for the Raw title to change there.
Yeah. So I would say Charlotte. I would say Sasha doesn't. Because Becky's probably going to keep
it. Becky's probably going to hold on to it. It's either got to be her or Bianca, and they're taking the belt to Raw.
Yeah, I would say that. I think Brock is going to keep. I mean, Roman's going to keep it. I don't think we're doing anything to get the belt off of Roman yet. I think we're building
I think they've actually kept him as a free agent because eventually they want to put together Lashley versus Brock.
And one last thing before I get to the King of the Ring and the crown, or the Queen's crown, because I'm just curious about this. I noticed something in this. Goldberg Lashley. The way this is being billed, do you see Goldberg winning? It almost looks like there's.
I do. This is the give back.
I feel, yeah.
That's why they took the belt off Lashley, I believe.
No,
I believe they saw a chance to put the belt on Big E, and they saw a chance to give this back to Goldberg. And quite frankly, I think that they didn't want Goldberg, obviously, to have the belt again. So get the belt off Lashley, give him his win here, and then, it's a wash.
they might even build up to Goldberg and Big E and have Big E go over Goldberg.
They could, but I think they're going to build Big E towards Drew McIntyre right now.
Right. Well, that match is set up.
Yeah.
Now, I was looking at this Queen's Crown tournament, and I had missed SmackDown as of this, but I saw the spoilers, so it's
garbage.
Fine. I could not believe what I was looking at here. Vega beat Tony Storm.
Yep.
That must have pissed you right the fuck off when you saw it.
Yeah, but that wasn't enough.
No, then Carmella had to beat Liv Morgan on top of that. And we set up Vega versus Carmella. And I'm looking at the rest of this tournament. It's Doudrop and Natalya, which, by the way, Piper Vivian is actually
very good.
This kid is one of the worst names, too. And then we got Dana Brooke versus Baszler. I feel like if this is done appropriately, Baszler should win the tournament.
Dana Brooke's going to get annihilated. And then I think Doudrop's going to go over Natalya. And then I think Baszler's going to get by Doudrop. And then she's just going to destroy whoever she faces in the final.
Right. That makes the most sense to me.
And don't get me wrong, I love Vega. I think Vega's a hell of a hand, and she's a great worker. I really do like her. But Carmella's the drizzling shits.
Now here's where it gets a little interesting on the men's side, too. Sami Zayn is in the semifinals now.
Yeah.
Went over Mysterio.
More heat between the Mysterios.
Yeah, and Finn Balor beat Cesaro. Those look like they would have been two good matches.
Is it going to be the New Day versus each other in the freaking semis?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Now, here's the thing. Xavier Woods has been petitioning online to be king of the ring for a long time. And I thought it was funny. However, there's one little caveat here. Jinder Mahal versus Kofi Kingston. This is in Saudi Arabia. Now, I know he's not Saudi Arabian, but he is of Middle Eastern descent. Do you think that plays a part in here? Or because he's not Saudi Arabian, they don't care? I mean...
I don't think the people of Saudi Arabia give two shits about India.
Yeah, I don't either. Does WWE know that, though?
But that being said...
Does the WWE know that?
Yeah. I don't believe Vince will know that, and Jinder Mahal could go over in that match.
He could go over the whole tournament.
However, how interesting would it be to see the New Day versus each other for the?
I think we are. I think this is going to set up. I think Woods is going to beat Ricochet. They don't care about Ricochet, despite the fact Ricochet can be a great singles wrestler. And I think we're going to get Woods in the finals.
How did the kid from Saudi Arabia not get into this tournament?
You know, it's they didn't want to put the crown on him, but you know what actually might be a great finals if they actually, because Ricochet just went to SmackDown, and if they were actually going to start to give Ricochet a little bit of a push here, and they brought him in the finals, and it was Ricochet and Finn Balor at the end of this, that would make this actually pretty exciting.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. How does anybody but Finn Balor win the fucking King of the Ring?
I don't know. He should.
I would love to see Sami Zayn win it just because I think that he would be a great heel as a king.
Yeah.
But how does anybody but Finn Balor win this?
I mean, in my mind, Finn and Cesaro would have been the finals. So.
Oh, absolutely. How are they a first round match?
Yeah. Now
I'm looking at the other bracket and going, Cesaro kills everyone.
Yeah. Now on that note, I think that will probably be enough for Crown Jewel talk. Yeah, that's as far as we know that where they're going back there, a little uneasy, but they take the money and they run every time.
Dave, when is Crown Jewel?
Oh, good question. I had just put that away too, sir. Crown Jewel is coming up October 21st, so that'll be roughly 2 weeks.
Is that a Thursday night?
That is going to be today's a Saturday. Yeah, Thursday night. Probably Thursday afternoon.
So that week, I believe you're going to get wrestling Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and nothing on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually coming up this week, fuck it, we'll keep going a little bit here. As we're taping this on a Saturday, next week we'll have a live
AEW's
WWE
on Saturday,
Rampage and a live Saturday Dynamite.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting to note, this just came out, SmackDown is going to FS1 next week. And what they're doing is they're actually going to go over a half hour.
Do you know why SmackDown's on FS1 next week?
That's preempted by football?
Major League Baseball playoffs.
Okay.
This week, the Red Sox and the Rays played on Fox Sports 1 for the divisional playoffs, but next week is actually the American League playoffs, and they'll end up having that on regular Fox, so you'll have SmackDown on FS1.
But here's the interesting thing. They're going to FS1. They're going to stay a half hour over. Tony Khan tweeted out, "I can't wait to beat the A show next week." It's been a long time coming. And that's interesting. And, because they're on FS1, that might happen. Now, it's only going to be a half hour, but now here's the thing. Here's WWE. It's so petty. They've already booked Becky Lynch defending the title against Sasha Banks. Brock Lesnar will be on the show. And Roman Reigns, of course, will be there. And we're all predicting they're going to be in that last half hour.
They'll all be in that last half hour. It's going to be the greatest half hour in SmackDown history.
They're going to do what they can. Now, Rampage is already booked.
The rest of the show is going to suck.
Rampage,
that 1 half hour.
Rampage has already booked CM Punk and Matt Sydal. And it is live next week.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what else they end up adding. I know they got – that's going to be – and I thought it was going to be on Dynamite, but I think it's going to be on Rampage now. Jericho
no, that's been scheduled for Rampage the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, it has the whole time. Okay. Yeah. So that's going to be
they were very clear about the fact that we're going to do this in Miami, our hometown.
That's what okay, that's fair. They did say Miami. This actually – because both episodes are going to be in Miami.
Yeah.
Dynamite is going to – so, all right. Either way, should be an interesting week next week. Do you think it makes like when Tony Khan calls them out? I know you're going to chuckle out of stuff like that. I do too. But from a business standpoint, is it poking the bear, or is it, hey, this audience doesn't care. They're going to love you if you beat them, and if you don't beat them, they'll forgive you. They don't give a shit.
So here's the thing: the audience that's watching AEW for the most part, I think, is an audience that's not going to choose SmackDown over them anyways.
Right.
So all it's doing is drawing the attention of anybody who might be on that fringe, who might be like, well, wait a minute, what's going on over here?
Right.
They've got CM Punk.
They have a loyal fan base. Like WWE has a bigger fan base because they have a bigger casual audience. Yeah. But I think that loyal fan base is clearly AEW.
Well, also on a Friday night, anybody who's staying up after 10 is probably going to be a little bit higher in the age bracket. Compared to the kids that tune in to watch SmackDown earlier in the show.
Well, we'll see. One thing that's interesting too, I know too, I was listening, I think it was on Wrestling Observer, they reported too that like AEW actually won the house show attendance for the month of September. And it was very close, but they did. And they lost in August, but that was also very close. And now we're going to be in October. We'll see what happens. But
so here's the funny thing with AEW winning the attendance or coming close to winning the attendance. You also have to remember they play smaller venues. When WWE goes into a place, they're usually seating out larger venues, whereas typically AEW is going to the almost B venue where they're about 10,000 seating capacity less or 20,000 seating capacity less. But the difference is AEW is filling it to the rafters, whereas WWE is not.
True.
So,
well, it should be interesting. Good time to be a wrestling fan, folks. On that note, this is the Working Fans Podcast for the man called Dave, AJ Strangebrew. We're out.